We are approaching Stevens Point on US 10. We just came up I-39 and took the US 10 exit, and we're soon to be approaching where the UW Stevens Point campus is. It should be real interesting to see some of my old stomping grounds. Nelson Hall is where I basically had my first counseling sessions, because the guidance counselors that are there were, to assist the students in actually, adjusting to college life. And you know how stressful it is when you're coming out of high school, you're entering college. Well, that's what the counselors are there for, and that's where the counseling sessions took place. This is, right before I was leaving, this building was being demolished inside because, they wanted to do some renovation. Well, of course, being the radical college student I was, I said, "Oh, goody, it's off limits. Let's go inside and see what we can find." This is one of the places where I used to live, 2338 College Avenue. I don't remember the old lady that I was renting from, but I do remember I was in the room upstairs, and, I had a pretty nice time here. I wasn't all that radical a student here because, I was a pretty quiet student, rather laid back, and basically just, wanted to focus on my studies. So, this was a nice, quiet place, nice, quiet neighborhood, and I liked it here. Actually, this is Old Main, because this is the University Center. That's where a lot of students like to hang out. This building in front of us is the library. So, this is where I got my first flavor of what it was like to be in a communications area, because two of the things that I remember most about this building is, number one, this is where WSPT is, a college alternative music kind of radio station.
Go.
This is another place where I used to stay. This is right behind the music building where I spent a substantial amount of time while I was in the music major program. Never finished it though. I never graduated with any kind of degree as far as UW is concerned, but this is actually memorable because I had some decent friends that were here, similar to myself, and actually I stayed up all night one night just because I wanted to see the sunrise in the morning. They have a porch out the back, and I literally stood out there as I knew the sunrise was coming. Fine Arts Building, where I spent a lot of my time. My music theory classes were here. Had some piano training. This is where I took my Aikido class. I actually had an Aikido class here, and maybe someday I'll get involved with that again. Wouldn't that be fun? Country Kitchen is where I had my part-time job while I was up here. I was working here, I believe, probably maybe a year, maybe a little less. And that's where I used to work. Back in the 1970s, this was the happening place, because inside of here is where we had our disco lounge. It was our disco lounge back in the 1970s. Good memories here. My residence hall, this is where I checked in for my first year. It was still good memories and good people and fun, pranks, all that fun stuff. This is where I got my first introduction as to how strange student tastes could be. The UW cafeteria. This is where I saw somebody douse their perfectly good piece of cheesecake with ketchup. What an image, and I'll never forget it. I can't remember the guy that did it, but I looked and I said, "Ooh." There's a lot of memories here at the Residence Center where the cafeteria is located. However, in the lower level is where I was introduced to some of my favorite songs, because remembering some of the songs by Dan Fogelberg, like Auld Lang Syne and The Snow Turning into Rain, reminds me of Knutson Hall, because those were the songs that were playing, you know, while I was here on campus. And I remember being, you know, very interested in Dan Fogelberg at the time and several other artists, and some of the music was really unique back then, and you know, I had a lot of fun time. Gymnasium is where I played my racquetball sessions with the dorm director. Still some good memories here though. Physics class in the science building. What a memorable class that was. I truly enjoyed physics at the time because I hadn't been introduced to it. I was actually pretty nervous, but turned out I didn't have anything to be nervous about. I had a great time in physics class, and I probably did, you know, aside from my music classes, this was probably one of my favorite classes. Even though it sounds like a very highfalutin name, College of Professional Studies, this is actually where I learned about sociology, economics, and my favorite class of all, sign language, was actually in this building. I still practice sign language today, so that's why this is definitely a memorable building. The College of Fine Arts. 70% of my classes were in this very building. While there may not have been too many classes in this building, occasionally some of my sociology and economics were in this building.
We're leaving Stevens Point after visiting Al's old stomping grounds.